Here's the turn.
So kind of a difficult, low, fast flick. Not the easiest one to catch, but certainly one you'd expect Kurt to pull in.
And Kittredge just turfed it.
I don't know what's happening.
Two of the greatest players in the world with critical mistakes at the most critical times. Inselman to Marquette.
We are on Universe Point of the 2016 Open Club Championship Finals. We have just witnessed two world-level players, Kurt Gibson and Bo Kittredge, turn the disc for their respective teams. If Ironside scores, it will mark their first Nationals title, ending a long-standing drought. If Revolver breaks, they will continue their reign with a consecutive club championship. Before the game reaches its dramatic conclusion, let's reset the stall and revisit how these teams and players arrived at this pivotal point. Starting with the first leg of the Triple Crown Tour, we had the US Open in Rhode Island. Ironside looked to be one of the best teams at the tournament, dominating their pool and even getting an early season victory over Revolver.
Ironside with a 15-11 win over Revolver.
Ironside looked to be playing well up until they had to face the eventual US Open winners, Chicago Machine, where they lost 12-15. Despite the loss to Ironside, Revolver won their other games and were guaranteed a semis appearance. They narrowly lost to Sockeye 15-16.
Keeps the point alive, and Sockeye has knocked out Revolver. Montague to Raider. It may only be July 3rd, but we can say definitively Revolver will not repeat in the Triple Crown in 2016.
It looked like both teams were off to good starts without key future contributors Ironside's Kurt Gibson and on the Revolver side, Bo Kittredge and Cassidy Rasmussen. The next stop on the Triple Crown Tour, we head out west to Colorado for the Pro Elite Challenge. Ironside lost to Madison Club, going 2-1 in their pool, but maintained their seeding from point differential. After a mediocre day one, the Boston team faltered in quarters to high five, losing 6-13. When asked about their performance, captain at the time, Will Neff, said, "We came out asleep and quickly convinced ourselves that we were going to lose. I think it was a real mental failure for us." But after 2 weeks to reset, Ironside bounces back, going undefeated at the Chesapeake Open with notable victories over High Five and Truck Stop, ending their regular season on a high note. After opting out of PECs, Revolver didn't play for 2 whole months until the Pro Flight finale. With a roster full of talent, the big question was, would the long break hinder their performance or could they shake off the rust? Despite a tough loss to Bravo in the first game, Revolver quickly found their footing and won their remaining pool games, and through point differential, earned themselves a quarterfinals bye. From there on in, Revolver went on to defeat Prairie Fire and Truck Stop, ultimately securing the last leg of the tour.
Being attacked aggressively, so much traffic, but Stubbs squeezes one in to Byron Liu, and two of the new guys on Revolver win them the Pro Flight finale.
On to the postseason. Both Ironside and Revolver stormed through regionals, winning all of their games with the closest point differentials of 4 points for Revolver and 6 points for Ironside. With solid performances at their most recent tournaments, including regionals, both teams are seated at the top of their pools for nationals. Day 1 of nationals, the perfect setting for chaos, pool play. The East Coast powerhouse Ironside shows off why they're the number 1 seed by dominating their pool with wins over Prairie, Fire, Ring of Fire, and Pony. Not to be outdone, Revolver crushed Patrol in double wide, going 2-0 in their pool before facing the formidable Sockeye. Revolver starts the game with an early turnover and trails for most of the match. Down 7-11, they begin to chip away at the lead, capitalizing on Sockeye's decision-making and untimely mistakes to tie the game at 14-all.
Oh, and O'Brien's throw. O'Brien can't haul that one in. Karlinski's throw a little high. Easy goal line score.
For the first time, Revolver takes the lead at 15-14, and on Universe Point, Revolver rushes an end zone pass, giving Sockeye a chance to break. However, after the timeout, Sockeye turns the disc back, and Revolver seizes the opportunity to clinch an exciting victory to close out their day 1. Since both Ironside and Revolver topped their pools, they get to skip quarterfinals and enjoy the extra rest on day 2. You might be wondering why I focus on a Revolver pool play game. It's because Ironside is now set to play Sockeye, who just won against Dig in a thrilling Universe Point finish. Ironside jumped to a 3-1 lead, and while the game got close at times, they never relinquished their lead, going into halftime 8-5. With minimal mistakes, Ironside closed the game out 13-8.
Hucking for Foster, all alone. Ironside advances to the semifinals.
Meanwhile, Revolver makes quick work of Furious George, going 15-9 and advance the semis. The reigning champs Revolver find themselves in the semifinals against the 13th-seeded Ring of Fire. The game seems like it should wrap up quickly and Revolver should be on their way to another finals appearance. However, Ring just pulled off 2 upsets to make it to semis and momentum is on their side. Starting their 3rd game in a row with a break, Ring goes up 1-0 and quickly extends to 2-0. Capitalizing on Ring's throwing errors, Revolver takes the lead, and after 2 breaks, they find themselves up 6-3, but Ring does not go out quietly. Before the end of the first half, Hunter Taylor makes an incredible layout to keep Ring in the game, though they still trail 6-8.
To Johnson. And Revolver, after trailing 2-zip, takes half 8-6.
Continuing the first half's pace, Revolver silences Ring with a point block out of halftime for another break, pushing their lead to 9-6. On a long point at 8-10 with multiple turnovers, Ring manages to break and a few points later break again to tie it all up. After a few holds, Revolver receives on Universe Point and cleanly holds, ending Ring's Cinderella run and securing a consecutive finals appearance for Revolver.
Joel Schlockett has scored a lot of important goals this year, and this one is high up on the list to send Revolver back to the championship game here at Nationals.
For the 9th time in program history, Ironside finds themselves back in semifinals facing a Denver team that defeated them for the club championship 2 years prior. Bravo's roster has seen significant turnover since then, with 2/3 of the original team gone. Bravo has a clean hold to start the game. An uncharacteristic drop by Tyler Chan allowed Bravo to take an early 2-0 lead, and Bravo would continue to hold for a few points until a mistake let Ironside put the game back on serve. Following a several turnover-filled point, Ironside manages to take the lead for the first time in the match. After securing another break and trading points, Boston enters halftime with an 8-6 advantage. The gap would continue to grow in the second half of the game. Ironside's success in turning the game around was largely due to their relentless defensive pressure and consistent deep game. Proving once again why they are the #1 seed, they claw their way back from a deficit and secure the win confidently to advance to finals.
Boston Ironside, with its vets and its established newcomers, on their way to the finals.
For the finals, we have a battle of East Coast versus West Coast. Ironside aims to secure their first club championship and end their drought. Boston continues to prove their strength by winning games with large margins. On the other side, a resilient Revolver played through multiple game points and needs to dig deep to secure another championship. This is Ironside's game to lose. With that, let's dive into the finals. Starting the game in familiar fashion for Boston, a throwing error from Neff gives Revolver an early chance to break. Despite Ironside's stifling defense forcing an early timeout, Revolver takes advantage and Schlockett punches in for the first goal of the game. Ironside scores but remains 1 break down. The first deep throw of the game goes to Kittredge and is deemed a foul and easily results in a score after stoppage. Ironside fires back with a deep shot of their own that is completed, but the subsequent throw is blocked on the goal line. Revolver breaks again, pulling them up 2 breaks. Boston stops the bleeding by converting their next 0 point, while Revolver also holds cleanly. After a foul, a blown switch call allows Kittredge to score, putting Revolver further ahead. Ironside continues the tested deep game with a crazy sky from Tyler Chan and a small window goal by Marquette. Revolver answers back with a nice deep shot of their own. Both teams continue to play clean offense, with Revolver taking half up 8-6. Out of half, a missed throw from Kittredge to Hatchet, and many stoppages later, Ironside breaks for the first time in the game with an incredible around throw. The following point, Joe Schlockett, one of Revolver's leading scorers, turfs the around and gives Ironside the opportunity to close the lead. All game tied. Seemingly, the best players on Revolver are starting to show cracks in their game. Continuing the break train after a failed deep shot to Bo, Ironside scores yet again, taking the lead for the first time in the game. Revolver finally stops the bleeding with an easy score from Higgins to Kittredge. After a few trades and already a dramatic game, a sketchy play from Canner earns Revolver their first blue card. A few points later, great Revolver defense forces Ironside to call a timeout on the sideline and Revolver earns the block. Revolver then punches in a contested goal to take the lead once more. For the second point in a row, Ironside's offense almost turns the disc, but a foul call on the throw gives them the second chance.
Guys, we're done talking. It is a foul. We're here. 1.
After many stoppages in the red zone, Arquette gives Boston a third chance with an insane recovery grab to save possession. Kurt Gibson finally scores to end the long point. Both fatigue and defensive pressure cause Revolver to make their fourth turnover of the game. After a long red zone set, Boston takes the lead back. Revolver holds onto the next point with an impressive toe by Schlockett, and Revolver is on their third universe point of nationals. Ironside works it well downfield until Gibson drops the quick reset from Chan. A few passes later, Bo Kittredge turfs the disc on an easier round, giving Boston another opportunity. We've gone over all the context that has led to this moment. All we can do now is sit back and watch the play unfold.
To the end zone, Boston's got it! Jeff Graham wins it for Ironside! After years of heartbreak, when it has counted the most, the boat finally sails to the land of success.